activate.
This is Living Power with Dan Hurst.
You know me well enough to know that I don't get into political issues. But I want to talk about some political issues because the only solution in our nation's crisis right now is spiritual. That's the only solution. I don't care how you slice it. The only solution to where we are today as a nation is spiritual. That's it. We can talk about all the politicians need to do this and they need to do this and we need to vote these people out, we need to vote these people in, do all of that. I'm telling you, you can do that till you're blue in the face. But the only solution to our nation right now is spiritual. So here's the perfect storm that's threatening America, and then I want us to talk about how we address that perfect storm from a spiritual standpoint. There are three elements, and here's the first element. We're all aware of the circumstances that have been revealed in the recent shooting in Ferguson. The tension in Ferguson is as high as it's ever been, as we all wait for a ruling from the grand jury on whether they're going to indict a police officer who fatally shot a young man. Now, the issue in Ferguson is, it is a painful one. It's a brutal one. But there is a greater danger that's involved in Ferguson. There is no question that what's going on in Ferguson, and it's literally going on across the nation, because what's going on in Ferguson isn't limited to just Ferguson. These situations are going on all across the country. And they're being fanned by activists and, unfortunately, by the media. I read somewhere that there are close to 300 media outlets covering what's going on in Ferguson. 300 different media outlets. And each one of them vying for a story and trying to get the perfect picture and trying to get the right interview and so forth and so on. And we're deluged. And so we get this idea that there's this huge thing going on in Ferguson, and it's just massive. And it is dangerous, no question about it. But it's blown way, way, way out of proportion. It's serious, don't get me wrong. It's extremely serious. But we're just deluged with it. We're just overwhelmed with what's going on because the media has to cover it. They have to have a story. And it's interesting because we're looking at what's going on, and we get the impression, if you're not paying attention, you get the idea that Ferguson has been leveled by riots and burning and everything. One building has burned down, the QT, which is dumb when you think about it. Why would you burn a QT to the ground? Huh? Yeah. Ask anybody who owns a little gas station and convenience store. Why would you want to burn that down of all places? Why didn't they burn a bar down? That's what I want to know. Weren't they? What were they thinking? I mean, anyway. And there's the insurance cost says that the total cost. This is what insurance people are saying. Total cost and everything is going to be around $250 million to get everything repaired and put back. On the other hand, they had a hailstorm in St. Louis, last year? $2 billion worth of damage from a hailstorm. Let's put it into perspective. Let's understand really what's going on. Now, I'm not saying that it's not as important. Of course it is. It's extremely important because it has national implications. But you understand that the media is fanning this thing, and we've got activists fanning this thing. There is. I know I giggle at a lot of things, but it's the folly of humanity. There's one organization called MoveUp.org, which kind of leans to the liberal policies and issues in America today. There's another organization called, or not MoveUp, MoveOn.org. There's another one called MoveOnUp.org, which is looking at conservative issues, looking at issues from a conservative standpoint. They're both at opposites, looking at the same situations. And I actually corresponded with MoveOnUp.org about this situation, what was going on. And I found it curious that their perspective is there are an awful lot of people getting involved in this who have no business getting involved in this. It's none of their business. And all they do is they just come in, they use this to promote their own platforms, even to collect money, for their purposes. And they're not really helping the situation. In fact, they're making the situation worse. The truth of the matter is that people in Ferguson want the solution solved. They want a solution. They want this issue solved. But this time, looking at this element that we're talking about, these elements of these things that are so dangerous right now in our country, this time what's going on in Ferguson, how do I say this? If there is a riot, if there is civil unrest that goes on in Ferguson, it's not going to be racial. It's social versus government. There are certainly some racial implications in all of this that's going on, but it's much bigger than that. It is society that is standing against, that has decided that it's not going to put up with the government oppression. They just don't want it. They're tired of it. They're tired of what's going on. They don't want any more. And while there may be some racial issues involved in that, it's more than just that. It's look at some of the things that have been going on as authorities have come in, and they come in with these massive military elements, to suppress a riot of people holding up some signs. And it's just this overwhelming oppression that you're going to do it our way or we're going to get you. That type of approach. And and when a society or a community decides that the government doesn't represent it anymore, that doesn't represent who they are, or it isn't in their best interest, that is the foundation for anarchy. And the greater issue now is that we're seeing communities versus what they consider to be overburdening, heavy-handed, unjust governments. And it's not just in Ferguson, it's all over America. Ferguson may be the tinderbox, but it's happening everywhere.
On behalf of Dan Hurst and the Open Class, we want to thank you for watching. We hope it was a blessing.